Hello, people. I'm Avery, and this is the story of my entitled in-laws. When choosing your life partner, you should always consider the red flags. I failed to do so and had to face this situation. I hope my story inspires you to get out of a toxic relationship before it's too late. You see, me and my husband, Kent, always had a strong relationship. Or that's what I always thought. We met in a bar on one of my nights out. He was a very charismatic person, and I fell for his charms immediately. At that time, I was single and desperately looking for a partner. My parents lived in a different country, and I was studying at a prestigious university here. Kent was born and raised in the USA. When we started dating, Kent told me that he was working at his father's business. I later learned that this was a lie. About 1 year later, Kent revealed to me that he was actually working a minimum wage job at Wendy's. I was pretty shocked about the revelation because I didn't know why he lied to me. He simply cried and said, "I'm so sorry, Avery. You see, my family and I are very poor. My father left us to fend for ourselves. Mom tried hard, but she had two other children to take care of. I cannot afford to go to college or get a good job." "But why did you lie to me, Kent? In fact, I wouldn't have found out if I hadn't pressed for your office address." "You are such an intelligent person, Avery. You have a bright future ahead of you. I thought you won't be with a loser like me, so I lied." "Kent, I don't think you're a loser. I would never insult you like that. I'm proud that you take care of your family. It's nothing to be ashamed of." Kent was super apologetic, and I decided to forgive him. I could understand his perspective and wanted to look past this one mistake. I didn't know that he was a manipulative man and a compulsive liar. He was a great boyfriend and showed affection, but he seemed to be very unmotivated in life. While I was working hard to excel in my studies, Kent did nothing to get a better job. In fact, most of the time it was me who was paying for our dates. I didn't mind paying then because I was also working a side job. However, after some time, it was like I paid for all of his meals. One day I asked him about why he was so stuck in one place. I said, "Kent, don't you think you should find a better job? You have the experience and won't have to search long." "I'm happy at my work, Avery. Why do I need a better job? Are you having trouble adjusting with my income?" "No, it's not that, Kent. I just want the best for you. I have tried to be supportive, but you need better plans for our future." "Are you ashamed of having me as your boyfriend?" "I didn't know you could be mean. I already told you I don't have much. You earn enough for us to go on dates. What more do you want?" "It's not fair that I am paying for the majority of the things. I know you have family problems, but that should motivate you to look for a better job." "Fine. If you insist so much, I will try and look for a better job." He promised to improve his position at work, but he never did. Whenever I asked him how his job hunting was going, he came up with excuses. I was getting frustrated, but again looked past it. After all, I wasn't with him for money. I also tried to sympathize with him because my parents were wealthy and we didn't have financial troubles as much. We continued our relationship, and eventually it was time for me to graduate. I got a very high-paying job as soon as my studies were over. I worked hard to get good grades, so getting a job was easy. Kent was really happy for me, but sometimes made very snide comments. I also started to see that Kent was slowly leaving the bulk of our expenses on me. We couldn't move in together because he lived with his mom. Kent also didn't have enough money to pay rent on his own. I felt really bad for him and said, "Kent, if you really want to move in with me, I can cover your rent for a few months. I need to get my own place now that I've graduated. So I can cover the whole rent for a few months. During this time, you can look for a better job." "Will you do that for me? I am positive I'll find a better job this time. If you give me time, I'll definitely land a good job. I'll start applying right away." "I'll be happy to help you, Kent, but you have to be more serious about finding a job. You cannot slack off like the last time." It won't happen again, Avery, I promise. With his reassurance, we moved into a new place. It was small, but we made it work. The rent was pretty expensive, but I was ready to pay most of it even after Kent got a better job. However, Kent never really got a better job. In fact, a week after we moved in, he told me he was quitting. Kent said, "I hate my job, Avery. I have put in my notice. I don't want to go to that cheap place anymore. You've been so supportive, and I'm already looking for a job, so I don't have to work there anymore." Kent, why did you make this decision without consulting me? We just moved in together. You need to have a job offer lined up before you quit. Relax. I will get one very soon. Mom's already taking care of my siblings, so I couldn't ask her for help. But you can support me for a few months. You have the money and the job. But it's unfair for you to assume this, Kent. You should have discussed it with me. So you don't want to support me? I didn't know you could be so selfish. Here I was, looking for a better job for us, and now you refuse to support me anymore? I feel betrayed. When he said that, I immediately felt like I was at fault. I did say I could pay his share while he looks for a better job. However, I didn't think he would just quit out of the blue. Kent was super mad at me and didn't talk to me for a week. I loved him so much that I apologized to him. I also told him that I will financially support him as long as he needs. During this time, he also took me to meet his family. His family consisted of his mother, Patricia, and two siblings, Jackson and Penny. Patricia was super sweet towards me, but it kind of felt like she was trying too hard. His siblings basically ignored me and were busy doing their own thing. In fact, they never even said hi. When we got down for dinner, Patricia made some very weird comments about our financial situation. She said, "It is so nice of you to support Kent. You can see we're very poor and cannot afford fancy college degrees. But your parents were blessed to have a college fund for you. It's actually very fair you take care of him." "What do you mean, Patricia? I'm only paying his rent temporarily. Kent is already looking for a better job so that he earns a good pay." "But I'm sure you will look after him if he can't get a good job, won't you, Avery? I mean, clearly you can afford it." "I'm sure she will, Mom. She loves me a lot. Avery has been so helpful these past years. I couldn't ask for a better girlfriend." I was pretty puzzled by the entire conversation and felt like Patricia was mocking me. I also didn't like how Kent just nonchalantly told his mother that I will take care of him. All this didn't sit very well with me. When I asked Kent about it, he simply shrugged and said that I was thinking too much. I didn't know any better and chose to take his word for it. Months passed and Kent was nowhere near to finding a good job. He didn't even manage to secure an interview. I ended up finding various job ads and sending them to him. Kent assured me that he reached out but was rejected. One day I found out that there was an opening in my company. It was a warehouse job but paid much better than Wendy's. When I told Kent, he said he would apply. However, he never ended up applying. It was when I asked our hiring manager about his application that I found out what he had done. The manager told me that they never received an application in his name. I was completely confused and thought he had misplaced the application. However, when I asked Kent, he said, "I didn't apply for the job, Avery. I never sent my application." "What? But it was a great opportunity, Kent. I would have even put in a word with the hiring manager." "I don't want to work there, Avery. You're in such a high position, people would make fun of me. They would think you were better than me." "Don't be ridiculous, Kent. You needed this job. It paid so much better than your last one. You don't even have anything lined up." "Actually, I don't think I want to work right now. It's too draining and is bad for my mental health. Besides, I think I'm taking care of the house just fine. It's better this way." "Kent, I'm managing somehow right now. We will need another income to have good savings. Things can't go on like this for long." "Don't you have any respect for my mental health? I thought you loved me. You should want me to be happy. Being in a low-level job makes me unhappy." After this, there is nothing I could say. It was true that I could support the both of us. He was also doing most of the household chores. It was nice having someone home. But my savings were thin, and the future didn't look very bright either. Nonetheless, I agreed to support him for a little longer. His well-being was more important to me than material wealth. With no other option in hand, I agreed to be the breadwinner. Whatever little doubt I had vanished when he proposed. I was over the moon. The proposal was super romantic and exactly how I wanted. I knew I loved this man and wanted to be with him forever, so I said yes. I even paid for the small wedding we had at a friend's property. We couldn't invite a lot of people, but we were happy. However, things soon turned sour after the wedding. He was still unemployed and had no intentions of looking for a job. I was okay with that until he even stopped doing chores around the house. All he did was play video games. After my work hours, I was spending the entire night doing chores and cleaning up his messes. His siblings were over often and would clean up the pantry when I was gone. It was difficult to keep up with the expenses. I even sat him down and had a talk about it. I said, "Kent, you are not helping with the chores anymore. I am already very tired when I come home from work. You need to help out more." "I'm already doing enough, Avery. You shouldn't complain so much. It gets tiring working at the house. You can't expect me to do everything for you." "But you are not even helping out, Kent. You have Jackson and Penny over every week. They just leave messes and eat everything in the pantry. It costs me a lot to bring in extra food. My savings are already dwindling." "Stop complaining so much. You can take up an extra job if you want. You earn a lot, and it won't hurt to share with my family. They need the money more than you." "Kent, I can take care of you, but this is too much. Your siblings are adults now. They can pay their own food and entertainment." Kent just kept arguing with me and calling me selfish. He thinks that his family is a package deal. No matter what I say, it always boils down to me being privileged and entitled. Kent never considered that I had to work and study hard for my job. It wasn't handed to me on a silver platter. I called up his mom and talked about the issue. I genuinely thought she could drill some sense into him. Patricia was a hard-working woman. I knew she would help. However, she said, "Avery, you know my son doesn't have a fancy degree. No one would give him a good job. It's selfish of you to force him to work. We are your family now. It's normal that you have to deal with us. Stop being so damn selfish." "Patricia, I know he finds it hard to get a good job, but it's not the end of the world to work a dignified job. I am fine with whatever he earns. He just needs to help me out. He doesn't even take care of the house anymore." "Oh my God, Avery, he's a man. Men don't do household chores. It is your job as his wife. You are being so controlling. I can't believe he married you. If you love my son even a little, you will stop being such a horrible wife." My conversation with Patricia went nowhere. In fact, I was appalled that she supported his wrongdoings. I felt like I was stuck in a toxic relationship. No one was supporting me. After some time, I started to believe that I was wrong. Kent even started to love-bomb me after a few days. He promised to do better and help me out sometimes. Still, there was a creeping doubt in my mind. I thought things might get worse, and it sure did after a month. It was pretty late when I went home from work. I noticed Patricia's car in the driveway. I was a little confused because she rarely showed up. As I walked into the house, I saw that even Jackson and Penny were present. They looked at me a little weird and told me to sit down. When I did, Kent said, "There is something that we need to talk about. It's time we finally do the right thing." "What are you talking about?" "Our lease will be up next month. We will need a new place to stay. Penny's an adult now, and all of us need separate rooms. So we were thinking it's about time you get a new place so that we can move in." "Our lease also ends next month, Avery. We were thinking about getting a bigger place. one that would be big enough for all of us. So you need to look for a new property. They will be staying with us now. Are you serious? You want to pay for your whole family now? Patricia, are you even going to contribute anything? Of course not. My son will never charge us rent. It is your responsibility to take care of us. You are the breadwinner after all. I want a separate room, by the way. My boyfriend will be over every week. We need some privacy. Same goes for me. I'll have the boys over every Saturday for our weekly parties. You need to get a bigger fridge for the extra munchies. It will be so nice to have the family together. Avery can finally put her salary to good use. I think you can take up another job. That way you can have a better lifestyle. It's time you fulfill your responsibilities and provide us with a good life. Okay, then I'll see what I can do. I was absolutely stunned by what they said. After they kept babbling about their demands, I started to get mad. Kent not only sprung this one on me, but also refused to get a job. He expected me to house his mother and his two very adult kids. It was like I was their slave and their cash cow. However, I was completely done with this family. Hell, I was even done with Kent. So I came up with a plan. First, I assured them that I would figure something out. Then I got them out of the house. I talked to Kent in hopes of salvaging at least some of my marriage. However, he was adamant that I had to shoulder his responsibilities and take care of everyone. At that point, I knew there was no coming back. So I called my parents and asked to move back home. They knew about my trouble and agreed immediately. Next, I put in a request to transfer at work. I knew they had an opening in my home country. It was all the incentive I needed. Slowly, I planned the move. Only my name was on our lease, so ending the agreement was smooth. The landlord was super cooperative and even agreed not to tell Kent anything. When the month was close to an end, I booked a ticket back home. I didn't tell anyone. I simply upped and left. After reaching my parents' house, I was bombarded with calls from Kent. When I picked up, he said, "Where the hell are you? Your suitcase is gone and the landlord is telling me to empty the house. What is going on?" "I'm back in my home country, Kent. Away from you for good. And you and your family can look for a new house all by yourselves." "You're not making any sense. What have you done?" "I've ended the rental agreement with the landlord. You're now free to move to your big house. However, I will no longer pay for it. It's time to take your sorry ass to work. I will come back only for the divorce. Don't worry, you won't get a cent out of me." "No, you can't do that. You can't make us homeless. You are a selfish woman. Come back and make this right. I demand you return. There is no way I will sign the divorce papers." "Oh, we will see about that." With that, I just hung up on him. He never stopped calling or texting me. Within a short time, even his mother and siblings kept pestering me. The calls and texts kept on coming even after a week. 1 week later, I received a text from an unknown number. It was Patricia, begging me for help. She told me that they were homeless. They never renewed the lease, thinking that I would take care of the housing. With no money to their name, they were living out of their cars. Patricia kept begging me to come back and do the right thing. They needed me and were having a hard time with their financial situation. Ken tried to get a new job, but no one would accept his application. It would take them months to even find suitable jobs for Kent and the siblings. Even Kent sent me voicemails from unknown numbers to try and win me back. I simply blocked them all. I'm actually doing a lot better in my old home. My parents have retired and love having me near them. They never liked Kent, and now I know exactly why. Dad even promised to look up a good lawyer and talk about the divorce. I will eventually go back to finalize the divorce, but for now, I'm taking things slow. The calls and texts from Kent and his family stopped coming. Guess they were too broke to even get a phone connection. I didn't care. I am finally free from my toxic husband and living life afresh.